If the right people can't tell within the first 5 to 10 seconds of looking at your product that it's the right fit for them, then you're going to lose conversions and your CAC is going to climb. And no amount of advertising or eyeballs is ever going to fix that. Here's what founders usually do when their inbound doesn't convert. They'll create more content, they'll spend more on ads, they'll rebuild the funnel, and they'll just blame the landing page. And this feels logical because the more time you spend doing things, it feels like you're busy and you feel like you're making progress. But ultimately, that's not what's going to move the needle here. Just because you can point to a dashboard and look at metrics doesn't mean you're actually going to materially change anything if you're tweaking the wrong thing. But if your messaging, positioning, and storytelling are all vague, then you're just confusing people at scale if you pump more into the system. Because ultimately, if you don't improve the chances of people converting, then you're just going to increase your client acquisition cost as you pump more money into trying to get those leads. So the fastest way to improve your client acquisition cost and drive it as low as possible is not to always reach more people, but to also increase the chance of this message resonating with the right people. And to do that, you need to tailor that messaging to them so they know it's the right product for them and they can easily convert into a paying customer. Hi, I'm Ramsey, and I help early stage startups with their go to market, storytelling, and wider marketing, and have driven billions of dollars in enterprise value for my clients. So, more traffic is not always the solution, right? It's qualified conversions. So, we need to make sure that this message is reaching the right people and the right people are seeing the right message. Two sides of that coin. Because if people are not converting, again, increasing the numbers isn't going to do anything. So, the questions that matter are simple but pretty brutal. Are the right people arriving to the website? Do they instantly understand what you are? And do they believe you're the best option for their situation? And if any of those are no, then the inbound is less likely to convert, regardless of what channel that you're using. And we can diagnose these in three buckets, right? Is it the wrong person? Is it the unclear value? Or is it no distinct reason to choose your product over anyone else's? Think of it like a leaky pipe. You don't just push more water through a pipe. If it's leaking, you fix the leaks so you can get more out of less. The first bucket is the wrong people. If you're getting visits but low conversion, then a common cause is simple. You're attracting the wrong people to your product, and they were never going to be a fit to begin with. So this happens when your messaging is too broad or too generic. So when you speak to everyone, you don't really speak deeply enough to a specific person for them to feel that this is the right solution for them. A quick test of this is to look at your top three traffic sources and ask who is this actually attracting, and is that customer someone we're consistently going to be winning business from? Because ultimately, there's no point running ads or any sort of outbound or trying to attract people from a specific channel where they're not going to be the right fit for converting in the first place. If your content is speaking to founders, you might broadly be speaking to idea stage founders or agency owners or indie hackers. Like a founder is quite a broad subsection of the wider market. And they all have different problems, they have different needs, they have different requirements. And if that's the case, then having generic messaging is going to lead to a low conversion because they want to feel that this is the right solution for their situation. So the fix here is to basically pick one specific segment first, i.e. an early stage SaaS founder doing between 0 and 5 million in annualized recurring revenue. And then you rewrite your hero section in the following way. For insert target audience who want insert benefit or outcome without pain. So in this example, it'll be for B2B SaaS sales managers doing 0 to 5 million ARR who want to improve lead flow by 50% without hiring extra SDRs. So it's very clear that we have a target demographic, we have an understanding of their pain, what they want, and we can give them a solution that can remove the problem from their life. And that allows the audience to understand whether this is the right solution for them or not. And instead of being generic and broad and wasting your time with bad demos or just completely missing people who could be good customers, you're instantly speaking to the people who you want to convert the most, who'll be your highest value customers, and you can get the most value out of your product on their side too. Because filtering isn't a downside, it's a mechanism that can help you increase your conversion. Don't think about the filtering as lowering or decreasing your TAM. It's about improving the chance that they're going to convert. And so we can reduce our client acquisition cost. Bucket 2 is having an unclear value proposition. So even if the right people arrive, they won't convert if the value is not obvious and specific. Because Generally, people want to be faster, cheaper, or customizable, or some variation of a generic buzzword. But that's not real value. You have to look beyond that and show a transformation for that target customer that truly solves a deep problem for them and allows them to have a better quality of life in some way, shape, or form beyond that. Think about the benefit of the benefit. You need to make the value delta very explicit. They're going to be sitting at some situation now. They want to get to some after better off situation. And this value gap is what you need to build to show them that you will get the most value out of our product and help you solve XYZ problem, have this transformation, and again, have the a much better increase in the quality of life in some way, shape, or form with the product. So this value gap can look like saving X amount of dollars on a business function, or saving a quantifiable amount of time that can be spent elsewhere, or unlocking an opportunity that is not available anywhere else. Now, a lot of the time, most founders try to sound impressive and they try to make it very verbose and over the top, but that's not really the goal here. The goal is to show tangible value. So, impressive and grandiose language creates ambiguity. And what we really want is clarity. Can people understand clearly what the value proposition is? Because that's what's going to create action. If I know that I'm going to get some tangible outcome, I'm more likely to go ahead rather than some grandiose vision that isn't really tangible and I can't really feel it right now. That's not really going to make me take action. I need something specific that I can go and grab. So, upgrade the structure by making the outcome concrete. Things like booking 10 to 15 qualified leads or demos a month. Very tangible. I can understand what that is. I can understand the effect on my business if I get that. Cut reporting time from 6 hours to 30 minutes. Again, very tangible. I can feel that. It's not over the top, it's not grandiose, but it makes very clear sense. Or increasing the close rate by 20 to 30%. Again, things that are not necessarily so far out there and unbelievable that you need to kind of blow everyone out the water, but very, very tangible and very, very meaningful for that target audience. Now the buyer can really see the value of your product. Now, bucket 3 is that there's no reason to choose you or you have a lack of differentiation. Sometimes everything can be clear, but the conversions are still a bit low. And that usually means you haven't positioned yourself against a real alternative. Because positioning is not static or it's not absolute, it's relative. It's how the market sees you relative to alternatives that they might have. So when we're looking at things like that, we need to make sure that we provide a distinct value proposition compared to those alternatives. So what are the alternatives to having your product? Well, they could be things like doing nothing or using a spreadsheet or hiring someone or using a known competitor. So we need to outline these, right? Are we specialized in some way for the audience segment? Are we showing a differential between doing nothing and using the product? And how are we different to other competitors in the market? Because if we don't define the comparison, the buyer will and you'll lose control of the frame. Because we need to make sure that we keep our frame strong. You need to present a clear point of differentiation that you can drive home. So, for example, here, unlike main alternative, we include key difference, so you get XYZ outcome. And now this anchors you in a real decision and not just like an abstract claim. So the proposition that you're providing earlier on, instead of it just being a static proposition, you're going to compare it to other alternatives, or again, back to the problem that your user is facing. So, for example, if they do nothing, then their problem persists. If they go with this competitor, they lose out on XYZ. If they do some other method, then there's also a trade off there. So, we need to make sure that there is a clear point of differentiation as to why any alternatives are not going to be viable for them. So, as a real example, we can say that instead of saying, we help businesses leverage AI to improve efficiency, we can say, for B2B SaaS founders below 3 million ARR, so calling out that ICP, who want to streamline their operations, unlike basic automation of software, we implement done-for-you systems to unblock operational bottlenecks using AI, no templates, all custom. So it's very clear that we've outlined what the alternative is, a basic automation software, and the clear differentiation here, as we see, is that we are done-for-you systems that are used to unblock operational bottlenecks using AI, no templates or custom, so they know it's going to be built exactly for what their need is. Another very common example is saying that you're an all-in-one platform. But instead of saying you're an all-in-one platform, you should say something like built for X, not Y, because all-in-one platforms are generic, they're broad, and people don't know if it's the right solution for them. So you need to make sure that you have a frame to show where this solution fits. Another option is to have your message structured as follows: have the outcome, have the constraint that's been removed, have the mechanism. And that's how people will sometimes evaluate a solution as well. And ultimately, the more specific you can make this towards your ideal customer's situation, the more likely it's going to resonate and increase your conversions. So let's do some quick maths here. If we have around 5,000 visitors a month, and we're currently converting at 1%, we have 50 leads, right? Now, if we improve our messaging a little bit to make sure it resonates with the right people, and we keep everything else the same, we might be able to see a rise in leads converting to 2%, which instantly doubles our leads into our funnel. So with the same amount of traffic or the same amount of ad spend, you can increase your leads by tweaking the messaging on your site and making sure that it's very relevant to them and more specific and tailored for them. And this way you can also significantly reduce your client acquisition cost and allow you to scale further. And that's why positioning and messaging is not a brand nice to have. It's imperative. If you really want to grow your business, differentiate yourself from other alternatives in the market, and really convert people with ease, you have to make sure your positioning and your messaging is on point. So if you found this video valuable, feel free to drop it a like, a comment, and even share it around to any other people you know who would find this useful. And even drop a subscribe if you're that interested in more content like this too. And I'll see you in the next video.